Welcome to Lizzie's workshop. Today I'm going to be antiquing or distressing or weathering. All those words can be used to explain this method of altering the frame. And so it is a frame, and it's for an 11 by 17 drawing, 11 by 14 drawing that I made a couple days ago. The drawing that I made was of sunflowers and a lighthouse, and I was looking for a frame that would go well with it. So I went to Michael's and I picked up this really nice brown frame. And then that was last Wednesday, and out came from my G+ community, the Kraafters Community, the word of Inspiration Wednesday, and the word of that last Wednesday was pain. And when I was looking at this picture of mine that I had drawn and colored of the sunflowers and the lighthouse, I was thinking that pain was a really good way of describing how the frame should look. I kind of envisioned that it was a window frame looking out into a picture and what it would be looking on. So pain was the inspiration for altering the frame. And so what I'm doing first is I'm just taking black acrylic paint. I used golden because I wanted it to be a good quality paint. And I just applied it over the entire surface of this frame, making sure that as the wood absorbed the black acrylic paint that I added more. And then I'm taking just this Elmer's school glue, and it's the cheapest Elmer school glue you can get. Anything fancier than the washable white glue won't work. I've tried like 5 different glues that I actually already have, and none of them worked. So it does require the cheap washable school glue. Then you cover the school glue while it's still tacky with the white acrylic paint, and then you take your heat gun to it. And the key to getting really nice weathered paint crackles in this is to, it's all about the length of the brush stroke. So if you want it to be knotted wood and really small rips and tears and stuff like that, you would do really small strokes. And I wanted it to be really nice, long, crisp breaks in the paint, crackles in the paint. So I went with really long, straight brush strokes. And when you do that, you kind of follow it with your heat gun, and it will follow the track. And one of the big things is not allowing it to bubble. The minute that it bubbles, it changes the whole texture of your project. So the key to not letting it bubble is to keep moving. So you would go slowly, and as soon as it started to bubble, you would move on to the next place. But you don't want the bubbles to actually solidly form and dry in any sense of the word, because then you're going to be stuck with a totally different texture. So following it, you have to play with it a little bit, because everybody's heat gun is a little bit different, and the supplies that you use will be a little bit different. So you'll just have to play with it a little bit if you try this technique. But yeah, so the way that pain works into this kind of frame is I'm looking out at a lighthouse, and the lighthouse experiences a lot of pain. The lighthouse is trying so hard to guide everybody to safety, and yet it still has to stand there solidly watching as people crash upon the shores and as the storms come in, and it has to stand there solidly while the waters rush against it, and the stone breaks upon it, and the water breaks upon it, and ships break upon it. And it's all about strength and about loss and about sadness and about pain, the pain of loss and sadness and so forth. So I thought that it was fitting that word inspired this crackled, abused, old frame. Well, it's not really old, but it will look old by the time that I'm done with it. So it'll be a well-weathered frame by the time that I'm done with it. And I thought that kind of spoke pain to me. So then I took my heat gun and I made sure that the entire frame was all nice and crackled with the white paint. And I'm doing this video as like a 6-minute video, but in reality I put on the black paint, let it dry overnight, did the the white crackling, let it dry overnight over the whole frame, and then I took my matte medium and sealed it all in, because otherwise the paint would literally crack. It would crack right off the entire frame in little chunks as it sat on the wall. And I wanted it to look abused, but I didn't want it to be abused and to fall apart as it was hanging on the wall. So I covered it with the gel matte medium to seal it all in. And then I just lifted it up and gently did all the sides. So the entire frame is covered with the crackle. And there you have it. All finished. Took 2 days. Nice and dry. And that's the finish that I ended up with. So here are the different corners that you can see. And as you can see the stroke, the strength and the length of each stroke of my paintbrush. Thank you for joining me on Lizzie's workshop. I hope you try this out.